Hi, grade 10, Miss Walsh here. So today we thought we would give you a little bit of feedback on the Criterion D task that you did with the sunrise and the sunset, just for you to understand it a little bit better so that you can apply this for next time. Okay, so the comment for the first one of drawing the scatter plot is that you did have to make sure that you're choosing even intervals, okay? Some of you actually used your points as 1, 32, 60, even though you went an even distance apart. This isn't correct. As you can see, here the distance is 31. Here the distance is 28. So if you're using something like 2 squares or 3 squares to represent the distance between these numbers, this is going to skew the accuracy of your x-axis, okay? So you want to be even. And then once you're even, then you can put your points, your data points, wherever they belong, okay? So moving on, for determining the model, most of you were okay with finding, just as we learned in class, the max minus the min, dividing it by 2, as opposed to the d value being the average of the max and the min. And these were your minimum values, and you could have averaged these out, or you could have just used the minimum. It's a best possible model. Okay, the b value, remember, that's always 360 divided by the length of your cycle, and we're given here a full year, so your length of the cycle here is 365, which led you to something like 0.98. Okay, I do want to talk about the c value, okay? The c value, most of you found by guess and check on your calculator, which isn't ideal. What you want to do is understand the reasoning behind this. So here we go. So if you use the cosine value, okay, we know that the cosine starts at the maximum. So one of the things that you could have done is you could have used the max, and you could have just shifted the cosine 182 days to the left. And if you notice, 182 is roughly halfway, right? It's about halfway through the year. It's not exact, but I'll get to that in just a moment. Okay, your other option is you see that what you started with is you started with a min. But we know that the cosine value starts at the max. So one of the things that you could have done is just reflected the cosine function. Okay, now what's up with the 11? Well, they told you that your longest day, okay, your longest day, maybe you remember, maybe you knew this already, was June 21st, okay? What was this date? Well, this right here, this is our June. June was 152. So June 21st was 152 plus 20 days later, it was 172nd day. Okay, so this would have been your longest value. What that means is your minimum, your shortest day, would be exactly half a year off of that. So it would actually be on December 21st. So actually, this is why your cosine value would have been just a little bit off, because actually the absolute min happens a little bit left of where we started. Remember, we started on January 1st. Our absolute min would have been on December 21st, which is about 11 days before. Okay, so this is why I shifted my function 11 to the left. Now, what happened if you use sine? Okay, sine was a little bit trickier to use. This is why you were encouraged in class to use the cosine, because the sine occurs halfway between the max and the min. So a good shift for the sine, and notice I have 86, which some of you had 86, 88, but you did it by guess and check. So why does this number fit? Well, it's because your maximum would be at 172, right? So then for the sine, this would be 172. So your halfway point would be about halfway to that. So you wanted to do is divide 172, would have been right here. Take 172 and divide it by 2. So 172 divided by 2. And you see that that gets you 186, okay? So that will shift this 86, and you can see that it's somewhere here. This would shift it like this. So you would have gone 86 to the right. Okay, so you do just want to think about the reasoning for those parameters, okay? So this was your function, then you had to improve it, and using the table of values, you actually had to sketch it. What I want to talk next about is accuracy, okay? As you guys are going up in the grades, you want to make sure that you avoid generalities, okay? You want to be specific. When they're asking you to discuss accuracy, they're talking in terms of what are the mathematical problems with your model, okay? So saying generic things like global warming, this does not bring anything to your task, and you are expected to be more specific. So look at your data, okay? What could be throwing us off here? So one of the possible factors that we accepted is that, well, you rounded B. Unless you wrote it as exact, this is rounded. Same with the data, right? You were given the data in minutes. Maybe there's a little bit of inaccuracy there, okay? So rounding was one of your factors. Same with the spacing. If you did use unequal spacing, but you recognized it, then this is also valid, okay? We only used one maximum and one minimum. If you notice the maximum, the minimum here and the minimum here, they're a little bit off. So this will also throw your accuracy off, okay? Some of you mentioned that perhaps we could be a little bit inaccurate with the second that the sun is actually gone. What determines that, okay? And then the last one, for that level 7 or 8, we did expect you to understand that what you're given here is actually not the absolute minimum. As I already said, the days before the January 1st are even shorter, okay? Our shortest day is December 21st, okay? So as you can see, all of these are mathematical, okay, and specific. Specific is the word, okay? So the next bit, some of you lost points for just numbers showing up, right? It says use your equation. Remember, maybe you did, but you have to show evidence of that, okay? So what we actually expected, and I'm just going to stick with my sine function here just because that's the one on the screen, and that is you did have to actually state, well, hey, my x value is 172, and remember that's because June 1st was 152, and we're adding 20 days to that. And then you just actually had to show that step of substitution, okay? And so here we would actually have 172 minus 86 plus 740, okay? And then you can look at the table of values. Of course, you should, but you did have to show the step. Same with your birthday, okay? So if your birthday is something like, I don't know, let's take something like February 3rd, okay? Then you have February 1st is, as we can see here, was day number 32. So February 3rd is going to be day 30, sorry, that's supposed to be day 34. And you had to catch the fact that it was 2020. And, oh, pardon me. And actually, this is also a leap year this year, hey? So what you had to then do is you then had to take the day 34 and add 366 to it instead of 365, and you end up with this x value of 400. And then again, you do want to show that you're substituting that in, okay? And that'll get you a value. Okay, now, some of you, for this answer, you ended up getting something like 976. something like this. And so what you want to comment then is, look, this is July. So you would have had to discuss that your model is a little bit off because June 21st is supposed to be the longest day. So the answer to this one should be higher than July 1st. After June 21st, the days start to get a little bit shorter, okay? Because some of you got a value here that was even smaller than July 1st, and you still said that that makes sense. It doesn't. Okay, this should be your absolute maximum value. And again, that is because your model should have been shifted over a little bit. Okay. And then for the last one, just when they asked you trying to build the best possible model, this is where you can discuss real life. And for real life, you always want more data. Maybe some of you said that the data was only taken once a month. If it was something like every week or every day over longer periods of time and always using the same method, or some of you said perhaps from multiple points to find those measured. So all of these kind of real life factors would have been here, okay? But the main points to learn from this is just how to mathematically apply the C factor. So that, and the fact that when you are asked for accuracy, don't blab. When you're kind of saying whatever, I don't know, I'll just mention global warming or something, or like my model is like not that accurate, it's obvious and the reader does pick up on that, okay? So just show that level of sophistication. So I hope this is helpful and your grades will be posted shortly. Bye.